Radio studios. Celebrities from TV, music, movies, literature, politics, and show business. At one time or another, they all come to the Ron Sedgy Show. So why don't you?
And now, live from New York City via Los Angeles, California, it's time for The View from Over Here with the man who has a view for all seasons, your host, Stan Weisleder.
Take it away.
It's time to hear your views.
Okay, this is Stan Weisleder on The View from Over Here on crntalk.com, and I am in the studio with Malcolm Burman. So let's go over some of the neglected news items of the week. And Malcolm, I'm sure that you heard of this already, that Obama is seeking a tax increase for the top 1%. Will the Republicans vote for it? What's your comment?
Are you crazy? Well, yeah, it's funny. You can increase the taxes for the top 1%, and they won't even know it, and it won't hurt them a bit.
And it probably wouldn't make that big of a dent in the budget.
Well,
it's perception. And when people see that the top 1% are having to pay an extra tax, they feel better.
Well, it's not even the top 1% anymore. I think it's the top 1.5%. And they're making all the money because supposedly the economy is improving, but I don't know anybody that's seeing that.
Well, the gap is widened. The economy is improving because there are less people on the unemployment line. But still, there's a bigger gap between the low end and the high end, bigger than it's ever been.
Right, but I think the people who are working are earning less money.
Either that or they're paying more taxes. Another thing that's curious, the lower end of the spectrum is paying a higher percentage of their income in taxes as opposed to the higher earning people.
Well, that always was.
But then again, you know, if somebody is rich paying 5% and somebody poor is paying 10%, the 5% is a hell of a lot more than the 10%.
Right, but they don't feel as much. If I'm making $10 million a year and someone, my income tax increases by $200,000, I won't even know it.
Yeah, that's true. Malcolm, do you have need for your own personal submarine, you know, for like when you want to cruise around Coney Island or some other place?
Well, I did it one time since I'm a Coney Island native.
Well, that's interesting because now you can have your own real submarine for the cost of $1.5 million. You can buy one, and it's called the Deep Flight Super Falcon 2.
But do you have to have a crew? Or is it a one-man sub?
That I don't know. It didn't, the specs didn't specify.
Well, find out details. Going back as a blast from the past, there was a DJ in New York during the 60s and 70s, Murray Kaufman.
Of course, I remember.
And we used to go, as teenagers, we would go to a place called Plum Beach, which was like parking area along the...
Malcolm, you're dating yourself.
Right, but he used to have the submarine race watchers.
Yeah. Let's not go there for now. Hey, here's something that I picked up on the internet. Did you know that you cannot dream and snore at the same time? I never knew that.
I never knew that either.
All right, another one of interest, another item. Remember the Marlboro Man you'd see on those big billboards splashed all across the country? Well, the real-life guy, Darrell Winfield, was a real-life cowboy. He just passed away at age 85.
I read that.
Yeah. Do you think he smoked that stuff?
I don't know.
Well, now, with all of the fuss taking place over religion, not only in Europe but all over the world, France and you name it, I have to say that it's really not nice to make fun of someone's religion, no matter how ridiculous it is. But also, it's not nice to kill someone because they are of a different religion than what you believe in. So which is worse, making fun of a person's religion or killing somebody because they believe in a different religion?
I'll let you make that decision.
I think all educated people have already made that decision. And maybe we're going to see some bit of a backlash towards these extremist groups, or as the president refuses to say, radical Muslim, jihadist fruitcake, or whatever. And all we seem to hear from the present administration regarding Homeland Security is that how they are going to protect us from terrorists. Why must they always do it in a defensive posture? We should be hearing what they're going to do to wipe out every one of those bleeping, no good mother bleeping last one of those SOBs. That's what we should be hearing. Because remember, the best defense is always a strong offense.
Well, there's a balance we have here. How do we do things and preserve the liberties which the United States give us? How much is, freedom of speech, freedom of worship? And how do you, the NSA was eavesdropping on civilians. Now, should they or should they not?
Well,
because we have the homegrown terrorists.
About the NSA, they've been doing it not just recently, they've been doing it for over 20 years. In fact, there's a movie that I just happened to catch for the third time on TV, Enemy of the State. It was made in 1998, and it depicts everything that we are first hearing now about the NSA. So this story must have been written like 20 years ago.
Yeah, but the question remains, are the terrorists forcing us to negate some of our civil liberties? So in a sense they are succeeding, but if we don't, are we exposing ourselves to more homegrown terrorists?
I think we've already exposed ourselves to a lot of homegrown terrorists because the country does not take a proactive stance. Everything is reactive or defensive. What about an offensive posture?
Well, that's the question. What is an offensive posture? How do you do that?
To seriously go out and seek these people and eliminate them.
But would that be racial profiling?
Of course.
Well, then this is against what the United States is about.
The United States did that during World War II when they interned hundreds of thousands of Japanese who were loyal citizens.
But that was racist because they didn't inter Germans who were citizens.
It was racist, no doubt about it. German citizens looked like anyone else. So they were able to get away with it. Right.
Well, yeah, because it was the Bund operated freely in was it Germantown, Yorkville, in New York?
Yes, they
did. Was a big, the big spy operation. But anyway,
we have something more interesting for our listeners coming up. We have our regular contributor on the arts and entertainment, Jonas Schwartz, who is going to give us a little educational background on what he has seen or heard over the last week.
Okay, Jonas, are you there?
I'm here, guys. I'm here. So I guess I'm going to start off with a little trivia question, which will lead us to today's discussion.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Who is, everyone knows what the Razzie Awards are, right?
Yeah.
They give the worst films of every year. They nominate just like the Oscars, but the worst. Who is the only person in the history to have been nominated for an Oscar and a Razzie for the same exact performance?
I don't know.
Okay, you stumped me.
The answer is James Coco from Only When I Laugh in 1981. Everyone made a big deal about when Sandra Bullock had won the Oscar and the Razzie for the same year, but this is for the same exact performance. So two people, I guess someone's lemon is another's lemonade.
Yeah. He won the Oscar for that?
He was nominated for
it. Nominated, okay.
So, which brings us to the Oscars, and I'm sure everyone wants to talk about all the controversy about this year's Oscars. And my 2 cents about this is I think people go under the assumption that 40 people meet in a room and discuss who they're going to nominate. And it just doesn't work that way. There couldn't have been a plan to not nominate the people that people wanted to have nominated. It just doesn't work that way. Where I think the problem is in the Oscars is that there are many, many people that have retired years and years ago that are out of the industry still voting. Worse, those same people, I wouldn't say majority, I'd say many of them are not voting on themselves, but having their spouses vote, their gardener vote. And the third one is, if they do vote, sometimes they're going off what other people say because they don't bother to see the movies.
Well,
the problem,
didn't they say that a majority of the voters were, men?
Absolutely. White men. Absolutely.
White men and older.
Oh, absolutely. So the problem is not that there is inherent racism. The problem is that the people that are doing the voting are
They're out of touch.
Exactly. They're completely out of touch. Where I think that they're going to wind up having to, I think they're going to have to redo who can vote and who can't. And I don't think, if you're dealing with any other industry, you would not have people vote that have been retired 20 years. Usually they have to be in the industry to be voting. I'm not saying that the day the person stops making movies, they shouldn't vote, but give a 10-year block. If someone has not made a film in the last 10 years, they shouldn't be eligible to vote.
Like a driver's license?
Something. I mean, it doesn't seem to be necessary to have people that were making films in the 50s voting today for what's big today.
Well, they had that many years ago with the Grammy Awards, and the Grammy Awards were, in the days of rock and roll, the Grammy Awards always went to the traditional singers,
because most of the voters were not in
not in that generation,
in line with what was big and popular at the time.
Now it all goes to rap singers.
No, and then I think it was Dick Clark's American Music Awards took over.
So I think the big problem now isn't that there is a inherent racism. I think it's that most of the people that are voting aren't seeing the movies.
Jonas, I have a question for you that we were discussing before we went on the air. This business with Angelina Jolie, who everybody says she made a great movie. What is the flack about the what you call it, all of this ego nonsense between her and other big studio executives?
Well, I think all of that. I mean, the reality is, I know, for every person that thought that Unbroken was a wonderful film, which there were people that didn't, but that's irrelevant. The fact is that Richard Attenborough made an incredibly mind-numbing, boring film called Gandhi that won every Oscar. That there was like crazy.
Actually, I like Gandhi.
And the reason he did is because he had worked for it for 20 years, and they honored him for putting all his time and effort into something that was important to him. Angelina Jolie did the same thing with Unbroken, but was not rewarded for it. So to say that she, deserved to be nominated on just the merits, who knows? But one thing's for sure, that the Oscars have really honored the men when they come in, and particularly the men actors. When the men actors make films, they win the Oscar. Robert Redford, Kevin Costner, Mel Gibson, Clint Eastwood. When the men come in, even Richard Attenborough, when the men come in and make a movie, they're honored because, wow, they could do something like that.
You know what you just said, what you said is a lot of it is based on what the person has put in years before, how many friends they've made, and what the other members think that they deserve, whether they deserve it or not. Makes me think back about during the year when Elizabeth Taylor won an Academy Award.
For having pneumonia. I mean,
exactly.
For having a tracheotomy. Right? That's what she won for. And even she considered that film, Butterfield 8, to be a horrible film. She hated her performance in the film. She hated making the film. She only made the film because MGM blackmailed her into making it so she could get out and make her $1 million for Cleopatra. She didn't want to make the film. And everyone knows, including her, she only won it because they felt sorry for her. But even Debbie Reynolds, who had lost her husband to Elizabeth Taylor, admitted she voted for her.
Okay, Jonas, we have a break coming up.
That's okay. It was a pleasure speaking to you guys.
Wait, we're not done yet. Hold it. You didn't tell us what your favorite things are.
Did you have the time?
Oh, I saw one play I wasn't crazy about.
No, do you have the time? Can you come? Can you wait till after the break? And
we'll I've got to go. So
okay, go. We'll speak to you next week.
Save it for next week, Jonas.
Absolutely. I'll speak to you guys soon.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
The next time you're in Southern California, visit the Riviera Restaurant in Calabasas. Riviera, as the name implies, is the ultimate in Calabasas restaurants. There's not even a close second. And what's better suited for the Beverly Hills of the Valley than a Beverly Hills type of restaurant and watering hole without those ridiculous Beverly Hills prices? They're so good. With impeccable service, they probably don't even need this commercial. Even now, it's hard to get a good table except for off hours. But if you really want to treat yourself or your date, call 818-224-2163. That's 818-224-2163. That's the Riviera Restaurant in Calabasas, California.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-471-5173, 800-471-5173.
Did you know that with a bachelor's degree, on average, you can make almost twice as much over a lifetime than a person with just a high school diploma? Yes! According to the U.S. Census Bureau, you can make almost twice as much. Going back to college is now easier than ever. There are select online colleges that provide laptops to their students. In fact, there are thousands of college programs on your laptop. You can go to college anywhere and everywhere right from a laptop. Call My College Laptop and you can find hundreds of programs from accredited colleges and universities nationwide. Start a new career in law enforcement, business, information technology, healthcare, and hundreds of others. Call My College Laptop to find an online college that will provide you with a laptop. In no time at all, you can double your earning potential. Double your earning potential. Call now. 1-800-731-4185. That's 800-731-4185. 800-731-4185.
Hey, this is Bodie Stroud, host of In the Garage on CRN Digital Talk Radio. Join us every Wednesday and Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk with all my friends from the automotive and custom car business about all the latest things going on in the industry today. That's In the Garage with me, Bodie Stroud, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on CRN Digital Talk Radio.
Now?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Now.
Now, okay. This is Stan Weisleder back on The View from Over Here. And we are broadcast on crntalk.com, and our program goes over the entire planet and beyond. I'm here in the studio with Malcolm Burman, and we have as our guest today someone who, just reading her background, I got interested. You know, every once in a while there comes someone comes along the road who strives to make a difference. Our guest today, Doris Wise Montrose, is just such a person. She created a group called Children of Jewish Holocaust Survivors, and that was about 7 years ago, which now has a spinoff group called Jews Can Shoot. It is her contention that enough is enough, especially in view of world events, and that it is time that Jews as well as non-Jews all over the world learn how to defend themselves. As part of their curriculum, they offer classes in arms training that are almost like private classes, as they never have more than 14 students at one time. And needless to say, she has the endorsement of the NRA. So we know where that's coming from. So we would like to welcome Doris Wise Montrose as our guest today on The View from Over Here. Doris, how are you today?
I'm fine, and thank you for that very lovely introduction.
Well, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about your background, where you came from, and how you came to where you are today, doing what you do today.
Okay. Both my parents are survivors. My father passed away in 1987. They were from Poland. My father especially was treated vilely during the Holocaust. Everybody was. He was in the camps, including Auschwitz, and he lost everybody. He had a wife. He had sisters. I'm sure that I don't know, to tell you the truth. I've never been able to find out, but I'm sure his sisters had children. Nobody survived, just my father and his brother, and that was because he was a tailor and made the Nazis, the SS, look good and really.
Well, what did your father do to improve his survival rate?
He was a tailor,
so he and his brother were tailors.
Yes, so they did their they did their uniforms.
Right,
and
there was a need for him.
Yeah, they earned their keep, so to speak.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. So they did survive, and then after the war, they were they were in a DP camp in Germany where he met my mother. And
was she also a survivor?
Yes, but she was able to escape to Tashkent, to Russia, to what was Russia, and then came back. It wasn't a good life, but it wasn't concentration camp.
Yeah, escape to Russia is not necessarily an escape.
Yeah, but it's not concentration camp, so that's. I don't know much. My parents didn't talk about it, although it was clear in their lives that that they had lived through something.
It's curious that most survivors really didn't want to talk about what they went through.
I'm guessing that if they did, they would be reliving it.
I remember this guy working for my father back in Brooklyn. My father had a grocery store, and he hired this. He wasn't much older than me, but he looked like double my age because of what he went through. And when he saw a policeman or a soldier in uniform, he would break out into a sweat.
Right.
For no reason other than whatever was going on in his mind about what he went through.
Right. It triggers something.
Well, there's still people that do the opposite. I have a friend of mine that's she's in her early 90s, and she was a survivor. And what she does is she leads tourist groups into the concentration camps. She'll do tours and show people what she's done. But anyway, under that note, we're going to have to stop for a break, and we'll be back in a few minutes. So hold on there.
Yeah, don't go away, Doris.
Don't go away,
just
Doris.
Beginning.
Okay, you're listening to The View from Over Here, heard on crntalk.com. You can get all our shows at www.viewfromoverhere.com and get a lot of more information. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with this exciting lady.
Trees, an epic novel by Stan Weisleder, told in the Godfather fashion, with 2/3 of the book taking place in Las Vegas and describing the transition from the mob to Howard Hughes to corporate America. This book is Las Vegas. Jim Santangelo from the International Brotherhood of Teamsters said, "I didn't grow up in New York or Las Vegas. I grew up in Jersey City, but I know everyone in this book. I loved it." Hal Rothbart, publisher, says, "I wish I had written it." The Trees by Stan Weisleder.
Homeowners, now is the season to be thinking about your roof, because all it takes is one storm to turn a small roof problem into a major leak. If it's time for a new roof, call Sears at 888-465-9720. You can save $500 if you call right now. Sears licensed, fully insured contractors can get your roofing job done right. Just call 888-465-9720. Sears has a variety of shingles and styles that are built for long-lasting performance, and you'll save $500 if you call now. So call Sears for a free in-home consultation at 888-465-9720. Hurry, offer ends soon. Not available in all areas. Installation provided by Sears authorized licensed contractors. License information available upon request. That's Sears Roofing. Call right now and save $500. Call 888-465-9720. 888-465-9720. Call Sears now and get that roof repaired. Call 888-465-9720.
Did you know that with a bachelor's degree, on average, you can make almost twice as much over a lifetime than a person with just a high school diploma? Yes! According to the U.S. Census Bureau, you can make almost twice as much. Going back to college is now easier than ever. There are select online colleges that provide laptops to their students. In fact, there are thousands of college programs on your laptop. You can go to college anywhere and everywhere right from a laptop. Call My College Laptop and you can find hundreds of programs from accredited colleges and universities nationwide. Start a new career in law enforcement, business, information technology, healthcare, and hundreds of others. Call My College Laptop to find an online college that will provide you with a laptop. In no time at all, you can double your earning potential. Double your earning potential. Call now. 1-800-731-4185. That's 800-731-4185. 800-731-4185.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now. 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now. 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Every day is Save the Earth Day, and each of us has a part to play. For more information and how you can do your part to save the Earth, contact us at SaveTheWorld.net. That's SaveTheWorld.net.
Now.
Okay. You think I was sleeping or something, the way you say now? Anyway, this is Stan Weisleder back again from my nap. We're in the studio, crntalk.com, broadcast over the entire planet.
And beautiful downtown Sunland.
Yes, well, yeah, sure. Anyway, I'm here with our producer, Malcolm Burman, and our guest today, Doris Wise Montrose. And I guess you might call her the Jewish Annie Oakley. I don't know if that's an apt description, but Doris,
it's a very apt description. The first time I had a class, I called it Moishe, Get Your Gun.
Oh, that's cute. Well, tell us a little about yourself. We know you're a child of survivors, but do you have a family? What does your family think? Do you have kids? What do they think about what you're doing?
I have kids. I'm divorced.
Are you available?
Malcolm, but you're not.
No, but we have a vast audience out there. You know,
Who knows?
I'm available for like-minded men.
Oh. You're a pistol-packing mama.
Right. So I'm guessing that they agree or disagree. That's their own.
You don't care.
No, I don't care.
You're doing what you feel you have to do.
Yes.
Okay, now what do you have to do?
Well, the first thing I thought I had to do when I started Children of Jewish Holocaust Survivors was to provide what I felt was indications of cultural and political events that led to the Holocaust that I thought were happening in a similar fashion today.
In the United States or in the world?
In the world and the United States. We're not separate. You know, it's not, the vast ocean doesn't separate us anymore.
Not anymore, yeah.
And so I started having the lectures, and I started in my home. Within a few months, I outgrew my living room, and we went over with the good graces of the owner of the Lux Sunset Boulevard Hotel, who's been providing me a free venue for the last 7 years. We have events monthly, and we've had speakers and panels and presentations and films, and all of them are videotaped, by the way.
Well, how did you actually start your group?
I just came up with a speaker. I sent out a few invitations. People showed up, word of mouth, and from a few people, it grew to a database in the thousands all over the world.
Is that from survivors?
No, I'd say the reason I use Child of Survivors, it's a play on words, so to speak. I am a child of survivors, and I believe that we have a special duty and obligation and ability, if we use it properly, to see things that other people who don't have the Holocaust in their DNA might not see.
Well, are you talking about like anti-Semitism around the world and the causes or roots of that?
Yes. Yes.
And have you come to any conclusions?
I have concluded that there is a great deal of Jew hatred resurfacing. It was always there. I think there's a lot of hatred of the state, of the existence of the state of Israel. I think that the Muslim problem, the Islamic problem, is humongous, and not just for the Jews, but that seems to be where it's focused. But people have to realize that it's not. It starts with the Jews. It's not going to end with the Jews.
Well, they hate each other.
Can you give us a take on what your opinion is as to why we have this Jewish hatred, this anti-Semitism? I have my own ideas, but I'd like to hear it from you.
I honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, well, aside from the fact that they think the Jews killed Christ, are there other reasons?
I thought the Romans killed him.
No, it's the Jews. Sorry.
There must have been Jews dressed in Roman uniforms.
I think it's something that started so long ago that it's just sort of an easy go-to thing. I don't, and maybe the story with they think we were accused of killing Christ. We lend money. We're smart. We're not smart. We're powerful. We're not powerful. I don't know, and I don't think that there is. I don't think that even if we find an explanation, that it would do any good.
Well, I think someone when you're downcast, I think everybody is looking for an excuse, and the Jewish population is a good excuse. There are the reasons for this.
Okay, but the other thing we can do is say, I really don't care. I really don't care if you don't like me, not you.
We like you.
Thank you, the big general you.
Right.
At this point, I don't care if they like the Jews. I would like them to insert the word either respect or fear the Jews, and I think then we'll all live happily ever after.
Have you been invited by the state of Israel to come there and speak?
No.
Speak?
No,
not yet.
But I invite them here.
Has anyone accepted?
Yes, I have Knesset members. I've had Knesset members speaking. I've had what I think very wonderful and well spoken and well written journalists speak.
Yes. So what does your group advocate?
Self-defense.
We advocate a strong Israel that does not entertain the idea of the stupid two-state solution. We advocate a strong arms self-defense program for Israel and for every Jew, and certainly for everybody in America per our Second Amendment rights. And then everybody will if everybody is strong, fearless, and armed, we've got a better chance all around.
Nobody will mess with you.
Nobody will mess with us, with any of us.
Yes.
But how about if other groups felt the same way?
They already do. If you're talking about like quote unquote other groups being people who want to hurt us,
they're
already armed.
They already have the weaponry.
Yeah, they don't follow the law. They laugh at it.
All right, now since we just got on the subject of arms and weaponry, what are you qualified in?
Nothing. I'm qualified in organizing. My great talent.
So you don't have what's your score at the range with a handgun?
I haven't scored, but I can tell you, yesterday I went for the first time shotgun shooting. I took a class. I worked with an instructor on shotgun, and I hit the bullseye.
That's good. Well, a lot of people don't realize that shooting a shotgun is a lot different when you shoot a rifle, as well as a handgun.
Right.
Totally different.
Well, did you advocate arming yourself with handguns, concealed weapons, rifles?
I think every American should have an arsenal and a huge pile of ammo.
Including automatic weapons?
Yeah. There's nothing in the Second Amendment that says what we can't have.
That's true. Now, what about the state of California?
What about the state of California?
Well, the state of California is fairly rigid on gun control. Not as bad as New York State, but you do have some western states where just about anything goes. You could practically buy a bazooka. Well, maybe not, but almost. In the state of Texas or Nevada or Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on the California rules, since you are a resident of California?
Well, they have a roster, and every few months that roster of what you can, what a citizen can own is reduced, and which is, I don't know where that comes from or why that happens.
How many guns do you own at the present time?
And I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, you could keep that a secret.
Now, do you think that everyone should be able to get guns without getting a license or qualifying, or?
Well, I think, there's a lot of discussion about that, and because registration of guns has historically led to confiscation of guns.
Right, that's the NRA.
That's Hitler. Hitler did that.
Yeah, but wait a minute. You have over 200 million guns in circulation in this country now. That would be an enormous task to confiscate all of that. And that's only from the good guys. What about the bad guys?
That's the issue. The bad. That's the exact problem here. And the argument that's made is the bad guys do not go and get registered or buy a gun. They don't follow the rules about how you can only buy a handgun once every 30 days, and they don't care about what's on the roster. They don't do anything like that.
Are you familiar with the program that was run by Eric Holder a couple of years ago called Fast and Furious?
Yes, I am certainly. You'd have to be like dead not to know about that.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't imagine what was in his mind when he created that thing.
Well, what was in his mind,
and how they were supposed to manage it.
Well, I don't think was the plan ever to manage it, or was the plan to arm the enemy?
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
So criminals do not follow laws. So constantly making new laws that restrict guns. And now restricting ammunition, which is the other door they come in at us with, it only makes us more defenseless, and not just, by the way, defenseless against criminals, but also defenseless against possible tyrannical government, which is what the Second Amendment was.
So when you say us, are you referring to the Jews in particular?
No, I'm referring to
everybody?
Us, the people, and them, the government.
So you're basically you're arming yourself against possible government takeover.
Well, doesn't that make me sound these days like a tin hat wearer? But that's the purpose of the Second Amendment, and if you see what Obama has been doing which he announced, by the way, before he even went before he was ever inaugurated, and has been doing the last few months with the speed of lightning.
Yeah, well, it's always been a case of us or them.
Yeah, but I think that it's a lot different during the when we did the Constitution. The Second Amendment was basically to prevent the militias taking over. But now, how are you going to defend yourself against the government when they'll come in with tanks? Did you advocate that heavy weapons should also be bought by people if they want bazookas? No,
I'm not. I actually haven't given it some thought, but maybe I will after we get off the phone.
Yeah, you got her thinking, Malcolm.
But by the way, before we forget, how can people contact you? Do you have a website?
Yes, we have a website. It's www.jewscanshoot.com, and if you just put in Jews Can Shoot, we're there too.
Tell us about your classes. How often are they? Where are they? What do they cost? Who are your instructors?
Okay. We just started. Our first class was September 7th. So, it was an overwhelming response. It is still remaining an overwhelming response. We've been offering at this point in time so far just beginner classes. And beginner meaning people who have never even held a gun in their hand to people who had a gun in their hand years ago. And something is triggering, no play on words there, some desire to get back to it. The classes are all at Angeles outdoor ranges in Lakeview Terrace. We don't do indoor ranges. We have very few ranges in California for all the...
How about your instructors?
My instructors are Matthew Weintraub and Ken Elva. Matt is Jewish. I'm going to mention this. And Ken is not Jewish.
How come? How did he sneak in?
How come they're Jewish and not Jewish?
Yeah. I'm only kidding.
Well, I think from what you describe, it really is not anything to do with Judaism or not. It's almost what makes your organization different from a lot of these, right-wing organizations that are armed to the teeth, that think that there is going to be a government conspiracy.
Well, I'm first of all, the organization, we are a non-membership organization. So it's basically a small board with a large database and a very active websites, very active social media sites, and we offer activities that the community can participate in. There's nobody who cannot participate.
How large is your database?
Big, enormous, in the tens of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands. Okay, not bad.
Well, how many of these people do you think are members of these other groups, these right-wing groups that?
Like what?
There's something recently that happened. I think it was Arizona or Texas, where the government was trying to take some land away from people. And
I don't know. These are Californians. These are just citizens, really. The majority of people who've been coming through our classes are people who've never had a gun. They're not. They're working people. They're family people. They're grandparents. It's a broad variety of people who have a sense that the world isn't feeling comfortable to them anymore.
Doris, we're coming up to a break. Don't go away. You'll finish up the hour with us. How many time? We have 60 seconds left. Quick story. Doris, I was with the L.A. Sheriff's Department for 23 years.
Gotta speak faster.
And when I would come back from the range, I would take apart my Beretta, lay it out on newspapers on the bed, okay? Dismantled. And my wife is so afraid of guns, she would panic, and I said, it can't shoot anybody. It's disassembled, you know. But so people have a natural fear about guns.
Stan, save it quick.
Do you deal with that with people in your class? Because you said some people have never held a gun in their lives.
Hold on to that thought, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Someday there'll be a cure. Someday we won't lose the people we love. But when is someday? Someday is today. Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, hundreds of thousands diagnosed with blood cancer are today living a normal life. We're making cures happen. Join us. Call 888-HELP-LLS. Go to LLS.org. Help us reach today sooner.
In 2002, a National Sleep Foundation poll found that 63% of women had trouble sleeping. Hi, how in the world are you anyway? I'm Andy Willoughby. In my opinion, a major reason for insomnia is the Blue Card. It's a shopping and loyalty card, and it's free. That's right, free. No charge, nada. With the Blue Card, you can receive up to 5% cash back on purchases. Most cards only offer 2% at most. No wonder girls can't sleep. With the Blue Card, you can also get shopping points that you could use for online purchases. So it's cash back and shopping points. Am I keeping you awake? If you refer the Blue Card to someone else, you could even earn money on their purchases. No, I'm serious. It's true. But it gets better. If you share the Blue Card with a merchant, you could earn on the purchases of everyone who uses the Blue Card at their store. There is no way you're going to get any sleep until you get your own free Blue Card. So call 800-316-7362 and order your free Blue Card so you can rest easy again. Call 800-316-7362.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really?
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-471-5173, 800-471-5173.
A Killer of Lions by Stan Weisleder. There were 4 squadrons of black fighter pilots during World War II that had to fight 2 air forces in order to gain recognition, the Luftwaffe and the U.S. Army Air Corps. The HBO special and the recent attempt at a full-length feature film do not come close to the full and true story of these brave men. They were not ball players, they were not rap singers, they were fighter pilots and American heroes in the truest sense. A Killer of Lions by Stan Weisleder.
That's a cue.
Now waiting for that little melody to die out. This is Stan Weisleder. I'm back from my nap on CRNTalk.com. Malcolm woke me up. Malcolm Burman, our producer. And our guest now is Doris Wise Montrose. And as I referred to earlier, the Jewish Annie Oakley. So, Doris, have you thought about that question that we posed right before the break? And that is, how do people who have this innate fear of guns overcome it, or how do you help them overcome it with your classes?
Actually, I thought of that. The first part of our classes are about 7 hours, from about 10 to 5. We try to get Sundays as much as we can get. And the first 2-3 hours of the class is lecture in a classroom. And we hand out what's called blue guns, which are which the police use for training. They're plastic, they're blue.
Or they could be red.
Yes, or they could be red. I bought the blue guns. And they come in, they look just like guns. You know, I got some Glocks, I got some SIGs, I got some just different kind. I got some revolvers, I got pistols, semis, and they don't shoot, they don't do anything, and we hand them out to people to hold and to aim. We teach them stance with it. We teach eye dominance. So they have it right in front of them, and they can see that it doesn't do anything all by itself, which is just like a gun does. A real gun will not shoot itself. You actually have to do something. First you have to load it, and then you actually have to do something.
Yeah, you have to pull a trigger. A gun does not go off by itself, like some people claim.
It's how I stopped fearing the gun and learned to love it.
Right. There's a little joke that shows up periodically on the internet where somebody says, "I left my gun all day on the coffee table. When I got home, it's still not shot itself." Something like that.
It's true.
Anyway, again, tell us where to reach you because we only have a few minutes left.
Okay, it's www.jewscanshoot.com, and all the information is there. They can subscribe. They can get newsletters. They can get tips. We're having on January next Monday, a week from yesterday, at the Lux Hotel. Chuck Michelle is going to speak for us on the status of Peruta case, which is the right to carry in California, and which I'm hoping will happen. And we have the classes on March 10th. We organized a field trip together with Martin B. Redding Gun Shop in Culver City, where the store is going to remain open just for us in the evening, and our instructors and their fine staff are going to help people in making a selection in buying their first gun or their third gun.
Yeah, I can see this scenario, especially in Los Angeles, with what we have with road rage. I can picture, one guy pulling out a gun and three other people having the shootout on the 405.
A friend of mine almost got into a road rage. He pulls out his Beretta from his glove compartment and waved it at the other driver. The other driver backed up, and unbeknownst to my friend, he took down his license plate number, and by the time he got to his office, there were two LAPD
anyway, it's time
arresting him.
It's time to say goodbye.
I just want to say, I think that is the odd case and not the usual.
I'm not sure, but thank you very much for being on. You're listening to The View from Over Here on crntalk.com, and if you want to hear the show, you can go to www.viewfromoverhere.com. Stay tuned for next week when we have another exciting show. Have a great week, guys.
The View from Over Here is a co-production of Infinity X and TBG International. For further information, contact Malcolm Burman at 818-687-2784. That's 818-687-2784.
Enjoying all your favorite CRN programming is easier than ever. It's right on your TV, through your local cable provider, and on the web at crntalk.com. But when you're on the move, stuck in a plane, train, or in your car, catch up on all the shows you missed, or listen live to your favorites. Download our CRN app from your iPhone